Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines here. If you want a discount on XRP Las Vegas, you need to join us in the Freedom Zone. And we got this for you today. You're going to want every single bit of it. Where's Bitcoin going to be in 9 months? We're going to touch it. A CEO says XRP ETFs are next. You're going to want all of that. The U.S. is planning to steal $300 billion in USTreasuries, says Jim Rickards. And while that's happening, we have a recipe for disaster in play with 100 nations planning to flip the switch and ditch the US dollar. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.77 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 1.3%. And right now, 45,200 plus for Bitcoin, 2,300 plus for Ethereum, and we see Tether market cap at 94.4 billion plus. Number 6 spot is XRP at 55 cents. We're off by 0.6 on the 24-hour, off by 1.5 on the 7-day. The range of price very quickly between 0.5524 on the bottom and 0.5784 on the top. We're sitting about just above the bottom range there. We'll keep an eye on it, ladies and gentlemen. We know there's a lot of news happening. We got a lot to go over. I want to start with this, however. It's Gold Telegraph reminding all of us that China increased its gold reserves for the 14th consecutive month in December. Again, China is stockpiling. That is not an accident, and they're not the only central bank and government around the world doing so. Look, I don't say these things for nothing. Miles Franklin, precious metals, gold and silver, bars or coins, whatever you want, they've got it with specials. You need to do 2 things. Email info@milesfranklin.com, and then the most important thing is in the subject box, put dig gold. So you get the best discounts and prices and service possible. They're going to love that you call. You won't believe the level of knowledge from the people you're going to be connected with. Make sure you do it. I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. That's one of my core tenets to investing. That's why I want to have physical gold just like the governments and central banks do. Not financial advice. Check out my sponsor. Where do you think Bitcoin's going to be in the next 12 months or 5 years? We're not going to listen to this whole thing, but take a listen to this.
That's what you're saying. It was transitory all along. It was, it wasn't, it was, it is, it wasn't it. So now we decided we're back to that. Okay, so just to end on, give me your 1 year and 5 year price target for Bitcoin.
I think in the next 12 months, something over 100,000, maybe 150,000. And, in the next 5 years, again, there's a finite supply, and now we have a potentially huge increase in demand with a spot Bitcoin approval. So I think in 5 years, something around 500,000 would be potentially achievable.
That's all.
There you have that. How about that? I have no problem with it. I could tell you that because I decided to take some exposure to it. Look, it's a risk-reward game. Everything we're invested in can go to zero. Today's the day. Will the SEC get it right? Because yesterday, obviously, their X page miraculously somehow gets hacked. If you haven't seen the first video from this morning, I highly suggest you watch it. Now, was that hack a complete coincidence, an accident? Or was that one more way and a signal of understanding that the SEC is serving the legacy firms by wiping out the shorts and longs in an instant? They could find out immediately with that crappy little tweet saying that spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved, and then come out moments later and say, actually, we take that back. Our account was hacked on X. That's not true. You have to wait till tomorrow. So hopefully today we get the official word that things are approved. But what happened in that moment? Well, the cynical side of me says that was their chance to clear things out. I'm telling you, I had a great conversation with a friend of mine, Ivan, last night. We both felt the same way. This is a way of clearing out the shorts and longs and understanding how much of the actual price of Bitcoin was priced in. That's what I believe took place yesterday. But I can't prove it. Nearly $90 million worth of Bitcoin long and short positions were liquidated after a series of fake tweets on Bitcoin ETF approval led by price volatility. This was all started from the SEC's profile on X. As I said, 90 million wiped out, long and shorts. Who benefits? The legacy institutions. That's who benefit. They get the snapshot of how much the price is priced in for Bitcoin. It dropped about $2,000, right? But we know billions of dollars is on the sideline waiting to come in. You do the math. Anyone else remember when the SEC sued Ripple and $15 billion worth of XRP was lost? Yeah, because I do. And so does XRP Crypto Wolf here. The SEC are the biggest crypto market manipulators and need to be investigated. There's no question about that. Then a journalist claimed that he met with Valkyrie founder Stephen McClurg, who applied for Bitcoin spot ETF, and that after Bitcoin approval, spot ETF, approvals for Ethereum and Ripple were next. Well, you know what? Take a listen to this clip right here.
That if you get past today, the SEC tomorrow says, okay, you're all clear, you can start trading on Thursday. How soon before you turn around and try to make other spot products for different crypto assets?
Great question.
I think we're going to see a lot of filings come out for Ethereum. I even think we might see something for Ripple, given the recent progress.
It's XRP.
You notice that Grayscale just added Ripple to one of their trusts as publicly traded. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Ripple or Ethereum spot ETFs out there.
That if you get past...
You know, God bless him. We got to forgive him. But you know what? I've been saying this. They're going to do Bitcoin ETFs and nothing else. Is that where we're at now? Come on. Of course, they come out with this. You can expect to see multiple other ETFs rolled out. I love this. Visa and CIBC collaborate for instant global remittances. This is where we remind you, Currency Cloud and Earthport, all Ripple partners tied into the MasterCard Visa networks on the backside. Very excited to see how all of that benefits these entities from their third-party indirect relationships with Ripple's technology. We will see. Then there was this. SWIFT in many markets around the world. T+1 settlement is coming your way or could be soon. Now, I bring this to you because I want to remind you of this that I covered when it came out, when the SEC voted unanimously in 2022 to move forward with the same-day settlement, citing distributed ledger technology. Could it be XRP Ledger helping with that T+1? Take a quick listen.
The ever-increasing pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard settlement cycle in the near future may be both desirable and feasible. Indeed, some such efforts are already underway.
Already underway, and that was in 2022.
Today, we do have those technologies not only to shorten the settlement cycle to 1 day, but also to shorten key elements of what's called the clearing process, that which goes on before. Also, I think rather important, it requires 3 important steps in that clearing process, the back office plumbing process of affirmation, i.e. to fully automate transaction processing.
So they're talking about updating the plumbing and the market infrastructure to the backside of all of these trades and get us T+1 or T+0. So now take a listen to the rest where they vote.
Possibly moving the money evening or same-day affirmation, confirmation, and same-day settlement. How did commissioners vote on the division's recommendations to amend the Securities Exchange Act on clearing and settling?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. The recommendation is approved unanimously.
There you have that right there, right? So we know, clearing away, exactly what's going on. We know. This is already underway, ladies and gentlemen. Then there's this. So let's couple the understanding that the market infrastructure and the plumbing's been worked on for years, and we are about to hit a transition phase where things run parallel, just like the DTC has talked about and other entities have talked about. Swift themselves have talked about the coexisting phase we are already in. So the new payment rails are up and running, ladies and gentlemen. That changeover where things run parallel, it's now. That coexisting phase is right now. Now I want you to factor in this understanding about the U.S. planning to steal $300 billion in Treasury securities from Russia and how it could accelerate the destruction of the U.S. dollar.
Name one country in the world that would want to invest in U.S. Treasury securities if you witnessed the U.S. stealing $300 billion of U.S. Treasury securities from the Russians. Saudi Arabia, China, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, all these countries have, in some cases, upwards of $1 trillion. Something about the White House, they can barely think one move ahead. They definitely cannot think two, let alone three moves ahead, which a good chess player can do. So what do you think Russia's going to do if they do this? Well, Russia will immediately seize all the assets of Western companies in Russia. Now they have, imposed some counter sanctions and said you can't sell them right away, et cetera, but they haven't stolen them. And most of those assets actually belong to the Germans and the French, a little bit the UK, but mostly the Germans. So Germany's like, wait, but a lot of these Russian Treasury securities are in custody, and as I said, Belgium's the main place, but some of them in Germany. But the point is, Germany's like, well, hold on a second. Yeah, I steal the Russian Treasury securities. You, the United States, use the money to pay for the war, and then Russia seizes, industrial and commercial and energy assets from Moscow to Vladivostok, and that hurts me. So again, they haven't really thought through the ramifications, but the biggest ramification is the one I mentioned, which is everybody else says, I have no interest in Treasury securities, because one day you don't like what I do. You don't like Saudi Arabia making up to Persia or to Iran, or China threatening Taiwan. So you seize my Treasury securities. That's a red line they haven't crossed, and getting ready to cross it, and that'll accelerate the decline of the dollar very rapidly.
There you have that. But wait, we're not done. There's more. I want you to listen to this that I covered just yesterday. About 100 nations have global agreement now being deployed called Project Sandman. Take a listen to this 1-minute clip here. 100 plus nations have a global agreement now being deployed called Project Sandman to drop and end dominance of the U.S. dollar and petrodollar. Prepare for change. Oh boy. This is what we've been talking about. Project Sandman describes 100 plus nation agreement that when triggered, we'll see those nations simultaneously dump the dollar and abandon the petrodollar status that has allowed the USA to enjoy 50 years of fiat currency counterfeiting and material abundance at the expense of everyone else. When this decision is triggered, the dollar and all dollar-denominated assets will plunge to near zero literally overnight. Now listen, that right there is where I wanted to go and highlight that. Now couple that with what Jim Rickards just explained about the U.S. possibly stealing $300 billion in Treasury securities from Russia because of this Russia-Ukraine conflict here, and then using that capture of those funds from Russia to fight the very war against them through Ukraine by proxy, of course, right? Now, what's interesting here is that imagine all of these scenarios. Imagine Project Sandman gearing up for this moment. Imagine if the U.S. does go through with a moment like this and seize those treasuries. Imagine the Project Sandman being triggered or a switch being flipped. Now, if you will remember, stay with me here. You're about to hear from Diana Adachi, who worked at Accenture, and she worked with the team and led the team that did the due diligence on Ripple in the early days and gave them the green light into the financial industry. Accenture has also invested in Ripple. Listen to this quick clip, and then we're going to hear from another former Accenture employee who's going to tell you great things about Ripple.
Set the positive tone going forward. and so now let me take you back, a few years ago when I was a global lead for Accenture in blockchain. And in around 2015, I had a lot of interactions with banks, financial services industry, and they were all looking at what does blockchain mean, and I did the due diligence on Ripple with the team at Accenture. So Accenture put money into Ripple, and part of that was really because Accenture saw the opportunity and saw the change that potentially could occur with the banks and with the corresponding banking model. So at that time, what the work we were doing was just trying to figure out how will all this come together.
And there you have it. Well, take a listen, because apparently it did come together. This is a former Accenture IBM rep letting us know that the flip to switch moment is here. Now, think of all the things that I've just gone over with you here. Listen to this clip.
I'm 54 years old, live in Los Angeles, California. I've been a tech executive for 30 years. I started with IBM, and I've worked for Accenture for quite some time. At the time that I was heavily investing in XRP, actually, and I've also worked for FIS. Some of you know, one of the largest payments provider. I no longer work at FIS. I'm building a tech startup right now, which I'll remain nameless at this point. So a lot of background in payments, but one of the things that Bob and I talked about some time ago when I was at Accenture, one of the things, I'm no longer on NDAs, but the one thing that I was able to do is Accenture, just like everyone else, has a Salesforce.com, which is a CRM, customer relationship management software. And I was, as an investor, was able to go into and look at, and this is a time where everybody was doubting, Ripple's not working with that many banks. And that's the time Brad Garlinghouse was saying, we're bringing on 2 new banks a week. And I could look in Salesforce.com because you wonder, how does a small startup like Ripple, who only has, at the time, 50 to 100 employees, how are they integrating these banks? Because that's a big project. 3 months, 6 months, a year. And the reason why they were getting them on so quickly is Accenture and IBM are the 2 largest tech integrators in the world. The Global 2000 use them for implementing any of the latest, greatest softwares. And so Accenture was a partner of Ripple, and I looked in our Salesforce.com, and I could see all 300 banks that Accenture had integrated for Ripple. Oh. Now, and I was pleasantly surprised at that. And we're talking big names. This was Bank of Australia, Bank of England, Bank of Canada, so on and so on. And so they're all primed, and they've been primed and ready to go since this was 2000, Bob, that was about 2016 I shared with you.
See, so there you have it, 2016, and the clip that I just played you after I had interviewed Diana Adachi was about 2015. So this market infrastructure, this connection has been done for years. We are now, as we said, from Swift's words, going to T+1 to T+0. That vote has already taken place with the SEC for the back-end plumbing and market infrastructure. There is some kind of moment coming. We are in the coexisting phase. The rails are not still being built. I mean, they're still being built around the world for different industries and stuff. But believe me, the market movers, the major banks of the world, it's done. This gentleman is telling you that it's done. Diana Adachi told you the green light that happened before this gentleman saw all the hundreds of banks back in 2016. That haven't come out yet, but are all connected. So this coexisting phase has a lot more weight to it today, to me. There's no question about that, and I hope it's helped you get some clarity as well. Flip that switch, baby. That's what I say, not financial advice from me or anyone else. I hope you join us in the Freedom Zone. If I've learned nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, I know that censorship is alive and well on social media. And that I can tell you does not exist in the Freedom Zone. We have freedom of speech in the Freedom Zone. And I hope you'll join us in there. And if you want a discount on XRP Las Vegas, join us inside the Freedom Zone for your link that you can get as well. Go to digperspectives.com, click the Freedom Zone, and join us inside. And if you want to join the DPMG because you want to get your goals in order for this space, you want to reach new heights. We're not ashamed to build wealth in this group. We're not ashamed to reinvent ourselves if we need to. We do whatever it takes to empower ourselves as a community and each of us as individuals to make sure we're surrounded by the like-minded people that help all of us stay on track so we can achieve our goals. I know you're like me. You don't have a lot of people outside of listening to this material to talk to about this, to stay on target, to have meaningful conversations. And I know you're like me that you don't dare try to do it on social media with trolls. This is the place to go to have the real conversations, to get your plan put together to help you get to the next level when it comes to achieving your goals on wealth and finance inside of this group. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.